everyone, I'm JR.
And I'm Abu.
And we're with Bell of Lost Souls, and today we're talking with apostrophes because we are covering the Tau Codex.
Yes.
We are going to be covering the Sept traits, stratagems, warlord traits, relics, and of course, everyone's favorite thing about the Tau, psychic powers, which let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, so there's a pretty big change in the psychic powers from the index. Rather than not having any, you can't take any.
Ah, excellent. Well, that is a subtle but important distinction.
It definitely is.
Let's move on to the Tau army rules. All your troops, except for drones, get objective secured. Every Sept has its own tenet, which applies to pretty much all Tau units in that Sept.
Yeah.
There's the Alien Auxiliaries rule.
That allows you to take Kroot and or Vespid units in your detachments and not lose your Sept tenets. Like most other armies, you only get those Sept tenet if the entire detachment is from the same Sept. With the exception of Kroot and Vespid units, they also can never benefit from a Sept tenet.
Right.
You do also have the special match play rule of commanders, saying you can only take one commander per detachment in match play.
Ah, exciting.
Yep.
Let's look at what the Septs do. So first up, we have, there are 6 all in all, and we'll go through them. First up, there's the Tau Sept.
Yeah, it is the first of the Tau Septs. So
the Tau Sept.
Yep. Their special rule is coordinated fire arcs or coordinated fire arcs.
Anyway, that lets you when you are firing Overwatch while a friend is within 6 inches, or while you're using your For the Greater Good ability, you Overwatch on a 5 or 6 instead of just a 6,
which is pretty nice. Doubles your chances of hitting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then we have the Viorla Sept, which is strike fast. Let you punch your opponent once without them noticing, and then you walk away.
Ah, excellent.
Yeah.
Good. What else does it let you do?
It also, if a unit with this tenet advances, it treats all rapid fire weapons it is armed with as assault weapons until the end of its turn. For example, a rapid fire 1 weapon is treated as an assault 1 weapon. In addition, models with this tenet do not suffer the penalty to their hit rolls for advancing in fire assault weapons. Which makes you pretty mobile. If you get a lot of assault weapons, you can definitely go real fast.
Absolutely. Then there's the Daleth Sept, which has adaptive camouflage.
Oh, I thought they had the Cowboys.
Oh, the Daleth Cowboys.
Yeah.
A unit with that tenet, if they don't move, fall back, charge, pile in, deep strike in any way, on their turn, on the next turn, when your opponent's doing stuff, they can pretend that they're in cover, even if they're not.
Yep.
Which, as you pointed out,
by the wording of that rule, may not work if you go second on the first turn, because you won't. It only works on the subsequent turn after a turn in which they didn't do anything, and if the enemy goes first. You have not had a subsequent turn before them to not do anything, so technically you might not benefit from that cover on turn 1, which is weird.
Just a little bit. Yep. Then there's the Sisia Sept.
Yeah, they have calm discipline. You add 1 to the leadership characteristics of models with this tenet, which is always nice.
Always nice.
And technically the best defense that Tau have against psychic abilities. Because there are psychic abilities that trigger off of leadership.
That's true.
The only way that they can improve the defense.
That's true.
Yep. So there's your leaders. There's your psychic defense right there.
There it is.
Yep.
Be from this Sept.
Yep. In addition, in the shooting phase, you can reroll a single failed hit roll. One a unit with this tenet shoots. So that's gonna be great for like your rail rifles. Since it does affect vehicles, those heavy rail rifles on the big rail rifles on hammerheads, things like that, are gonna get a nice benefit out of that.
The Bork-an Sept has superior craftsmanship, which,
and singing voices.
And singing voices.
They got like Bajork
and you get to add 6 inch to the maximum range of any rapid fire or heavy weapons that you're armed with, which is nice, but of questionable use for some of the heavy weapons out there.
Oh, I have a
78 inch range.
Yes.
But being able to reach out and ping someone with like rapid fire, 36 or whatever.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
That's bad. I can finally, put my unit on one corner of the table and shoot the other corner of the table. like those Astra Militarum have always been able to do.
Those jerks.
Basilisks.
Then finally we have the Farsight Enclaves, who have devastating counter-strike.
Oh, I missed. Oh, your Counter-Strike. Oh, it's so devastating. Oh, no.
That's
he must
how it
be
goes.
a Farsight Enclave.
Yep. Which lets you re-roll wound rolls of 1 for models that shoot enemy units within 6 inches of the firing model.
Yeah, that's much of a Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just seems more like a devastating close-up strike.
Yep, you're like, well, I've struck you now.
I've struck you. Counter that.
So those are the Sept tenets.
Yeah. And then we have some of the stratagems. Now, we're not going to cover all of them in depth, but we're going to talk about a couple of the ones that stand out to us.
Yeah.
For me, one of the ones that I really enjoy is the EMP grenade stratagem, which is a 1 CP stratagem. When you throw a photon grenade, if you're targeting a vehicle, you only make 1 attack, but if you hit with your photon grenade, you just do straight up D3 mortal wounds to a vehicle, which is it's great, you know.
It's definitely a great way to get your random fire warrior to do some real damage to a tank.
Yep.
A couple that I really enjoy. You've got your basic useful one like automated repair systems. It's 2 CP. Use it on a vehicle or battle suit. They regain D3 lost wounds. That's a great option. Neuroweb System Jammer, 2 command points also. Pretty interesting one, I think. You use it at the start of the enemy shooting phase, and you can pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of a battlesuit commander, and the opponent has to take a -1 to all their shots with that unit.
Ooh.
So that can be a really great one to kind of nerf the super heavy, big enemy vehicle that's going to wreck you, or some giant unit. They've got, 20 noise marines that are trying to shoot you up. You're like, now you hit me on 4s. So that one's pretty cool. We still have, of course, uplink marker lights. That's from chapter approved.
Chapter approved.
Great option. I think you're going to see the branch Nova charge used a lot. It's 1 command point. Use it on Riptides when they use their Nova reactor ability, and they can now choose 2 effects rather than 1.
Speaking of Riptides, I think another one that you might see is the Stimulant Injector, which used to be a support system, but now it's a 1 CP stratagem, which if you're using a battlesuit that has a wounds characteristic, so the Riptide or like the Ghost Keel or something.
Storm Surge,
you can use the top wound track instead of whatever it's at. So even as they get damaged, they can still fight at their maximum effectiveness.
Funny note, the Stimulant Injector is no longer War Gear, correct?
Yeah.
It's now moved to the stratagems. However, according to Games Workshop's handy chart, you can still use the index weapon options for your unit, which includes the old Stimulant Injector. So according to them, you can use index Stimulant Injector still. And that's their handy flow chart that you can find on the community website, I believe.
That's pretty great.
Yep. I think you've also, just like all the other sub-factions we've seen in other books, each sub-faction does get its own unique signature stratagem. A couple of the ones I really like. I like the hot-blooded one. That's the Viola.
Viola.
Yeah, Viola. They get the smallest Viola. It's 2 command points. You pick one of your infantry units from your army, and they can shoot twice in that phase.
That's pretty great.
They must target the closest enemy unit each time they do so.
Sure.
But still pretty great.
And they're like a mobile unit, so just get them up where they need to be.
Yeah. So that can be pretty good. I think the Sasea stratagem, the orbital marker light distribution uplink, is too long to say.
Yes.
That's too many words.
But it's really good.
Thoughts on it. Yeah,
it's really good though, because when you use it at the start of your shooting phase, and basically you pick an enemy unit that's visible to a character, that enemy unit and every enemy unit within 6 inches of it gain 1 marker light counter.
So depending on how the enemy have spread out their units,
you could get a lot.
You could get, technically, you could theoretically marker light an entire enemy army with that.
Yeah.
If they have, some big unit that's snaking its way in there or something like that. So pretty great. Great way of utilizing your marker lights. It is 2 command points to do that. But yeah, that is a great option, and then that's because you get to reroll 1s at that basic marker light level. Just going to make it even easier for you to get more marker lights on those important units.
And then last but not least, I really like the Daleth strike and fade technique, which was taught to them by the Cowboys.
Yep.
You use it
first. You get really good. You strike. You win some championships, and then you just fade into obscurity.
Fade into obscurity, and
no
one really talks about you. Eventually, you move from You move to like a different city and no one notices. But you can also, at the start of your shooting phase, pick a unit. You can shoot and then move 6 inches as part of your shooting phase.
Yeah, so this is similar to Fire and Faith in the Eldar.
Yeah. There are no Dark Reapers in this codex, though.
No, none of them.
Let's talk about Warlord traits.
Sure. So the Tau have a lot of potentially useful Warlord traits in different situations.
There are 12 all in all, 6 generic ones, and then 1 for each sept.
Yeah. So the first of the generic ones is Precision of the Hunter. The Warlord that you give this to gets to reroll rolls of 1 against enemy vehicles or monsters.
And wound rolls are pretty important against vehicle and monster things, so being able to reroll those is nice. There's through Unity Devastation, which I kind of like this one. It's a little complicated, but basically you pick an enemy unit that's visible to your Warlord until the end of your shooting phase. Each time you make a wound roll of 6+ against that unit for an attack made by a friendly sept unit that's near your Warlord within 6 inches, the AP of your attack is improved by 1.
Bit complicated, but still pretty great.
Yeah.
I will say, if nothing else, the Tau Warlord traits probably have the best names. Some of the best names. Because my favorite is the next one, and it's A Ghost Walks Among Us. Now that's just a great, it
is.
Warlord trait. Doesn't actually really make sense for its description.
No.
Because its description is the Warlord walks unseen until the moment is right to strike. And you'd think that would give them some kind of cloaking, but all it does is it lets them move, when they advance, they move 6 inches instead of rolling a d6.
Which is, pretty handy depending on what you need. But yes, then there's Through Boldness, Victory. If your Warlord is within 12 inches of an enemy unit at the start of your shooting phase, you can reroll failed hit rolls made for your Warlord until the end of the phase. Which for a Tau commander means you're rerolling your 2s, you're rerolling 1s anyway.
Yeah. But not bad if you're dropping in somewhere you've got a bunch of fusion blasters.
Exactly.
Like that.
You're just like, all right, let's do this.
Yep. Then you have Exemplar of the Kauyon. So it's one of the 2 main Tau concepts. Philosophies of war. You can reroll failed hit rolls for your Warlord as long as they have not moved this turn. If they have moved for any reason, they lose this trait until the start of the next turn, which is just a weird wording.
Yeah.
Because if they move, they don't get the benefit of it, so I don't know where they lose the trait.
Yeah.
Maybe so the enemy can't steal their Warlord trait.
I guess
that was an ability.
maybe this is a hint at things to come.
I don't know. I feel like there's some weird loophole that's like, well, you don't have it, so it can't come back next turn or something. Right. Some weird thing.
I don't know,
but doesn't really seem to be there. And then finally, as one of the generic
there's
ones,
the Exemplar of the Montka, which I really like. Your Warlord can advance and still shoot as though you had not advanced at all this turn. So if you need to be highly mobile or you want to keep that all-important distance between you and your enemy, because you can always advance backwards, that one's pretty good.
Too bad you can't take it with A Ghost Walks Among Us.
Oh, right, that would be so good.
And you'd be like, whatever, man. Both of those, of course, are going to be great for the seps that get to ignore the modifiers for moving.
Absolutely.
Advancing. Then you do have the your 6 generic ones. So you've got the Ta'au one, which is Strength of Belief. And that's a 5-up, feel no pain, basically. Every time you take a wound, roll a d6 on a 5+, you wound is ignored. So, sorry, it's only for mortal wounds, though.
Only for mortal wounds.
Only for mortal wounds. Yeah. So roll a d6 for each mortal wound infected. So there's your second ability to resist psychic powers. Try to keep your guy from getting psychic out. Honestly, though, now that I think about it, with only being mortal wounds, it's okay.
It's okay. There's the Academy Luminary, which
this is the best Warlord.
This is the Viorla one. So if your Warlord has the Master of War, Volley Fire, or Failure is not an option ability, the range of that ability is increased to 9 inches. If your army is battle-forged, you receive an additional command point.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Now, you'd think, like it's good on a Crisis Suit commander because the Master of War thing is the Kauyon or the Montka, and that lets you do some cool stuff. But what's really important is the Volley Fire thing.
Yeah.
That pumps up your cadre Fireblades and means that within a 9-inch bubble of them, you get to
get the extra shots and everything, and getting an extra command point is always great.
Absolutely.
So definitely a great option there. Third one is Gunship Diplomacy. This is the Daleth one. because cowboys are all about gunship diplomacy.
Sure, yeah.
I learned it from them again. This is a pretty interesting one, I think, in some ways. It's while within 12 inches of your warlord, friendly Kroot and Vespid units gain the For the Greater Good ability.
Sure.
So if you want to build a very heavily auxiliary force, this is a really great warlord trait to take for that. And you can suddenly do some really tricky things with cheap Kroot, shooting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and for the Sacia Sept, if that's how you say it, there's the Beacon of Honor. Oops.
Oh.
I'd rather have the Beacon of Honor.
Yeah. We're both vegetarian.
Friendly units within 6 inches of this model reduce the number of models that flee as a result of a failed morale test by 1.
Yeah.
Which, it goes with their Sept trait of adding 1 to your leadership. But also, usually by the time you're making a morale check, like your whole unit has been wiped out anyway.
But I mean, it is fair to point out that combining that with the +1 leadership does mean that the Sacia will lose, 2 less models from every morale check than any other Tau unit.
Which is pretty good.
Which is a pretty good combo at that point, and does allow you to favor you to take larger 12-man units. That kind of
absolutely,
thing,
yeah,
and really benefit from that.
There's the Seeker of Perfection.
Yeah. That's the Borkin one, and for each hit roll of a 6 made for your warlord, you add 1 to the wound for that attack.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Which is nice. Point. It's just hit rolls, so it does actually work in close combat as well.
Oh.
Which can give you, combined with some of the relics, means that you can be doing like D6 +1 damage.
That's pretty good
on some stuff, and that +1 hit roll. Does, depending on what weapons you're doing, your +1 damage is actually pretty nice.
Then there's...
wound roll. Sorry.
There's the Farsight trait, the Hero of the Enclaves, which means your warlord, if they are a Farsight warlord, you can perform a heroic intervention if they are within 6 inches of any enemy units after they have charged a unit, and they can move up to 6 inches as part of their heroic intervention as well. And if they were charged, or performed a heroic intervention on this turn, then they can reroll failed hit rolls until the end of the turn, as during the fight times.
Nice.
During fight times. That's it for the warlord traits. We are moving on to relics, which in this book are called signature systems.
Yeah. So we've got, again, 6 generic ones and then 6 unique ones, 1 for each sept. So I think the one that we're probably going to see a lot, this is the same, we've already seen this one, this is from Chapter Approved. It's that pure-tided enneagram neurochip. Once per battle, you can reroll a single hit roll, wound roll, or damage roll for the bearer or a friendly sept unit within 6 inches.
Right.
And then in addition, if your army is battle forged and the bearer is on the battlefield, roll a d6 each time you or your opponent use a stratagem. On a 6, you gain a command point.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is pretty good. So there are people have pointed out that there are some relics or stratagems that let you get command points back at a 5+. However, pretty much all of those only work on 1 player.
Right.
So this is one of the few things that works on either player using this strategy,
which is pretty great.
Yeah.
There's it's not quite Kurov's.
Well, again, Colors of Kilo only works on 1 player.
Yeah.
So you have to combo it with the Warlord trait, Master Strategist,
which lets you,
in order to do it on both players. So as a single item, it's one of the better ones in the game.
Absolutely, yeah. It's probably one of the best relics in this book. On the other hand, literally, there's the Onager Gauntlet. I deserve this. I deserve all of this.
Onager, fun.
It goes on a battlesuit commander. It does not replace anything. It just gives them the ability to make 1 attack with this weapon that is strength 6 or strength 10, AP -4, and that does a d6 damage. So you can punch with the strength of a railgun.
Yep.
But you can only make 1 attack, and you're a Tau close combat guy.
Yeah. It's not an additional attack either, so
no.
It is one of your normal attacks.
Yeah, one of your normal 4 attacks. So you will have 1 really amazing attack, and then 3 attacks that... Yeah. There's the multisensory discouragement array.
Yeah, which is a great name.
I love it.
Yep. It's originally designed for quelling... it's a non-lethal weapon for quelling riots among civilians. But they do use it in combat as well. Enemy units within 6 inches of the bearer subtract -1 from their leadership characteristic. Unfortunately, that means you're a Tau and you're within 6 inches of the enemy.
That's true, but...
and multiple of their units.
But that is a third way of getting some kind of psychic defense,
Oh,
because
yeah,
psychic
definitely.
powers sometimes are based off of the enemy leadership.
No, definitely. So combining that with them would actually give you a big advantage, and you could totally defeat those few psychic powers
that have that. If your opponent took them, you've got a defense against them.
There you go. Never let it be said that the Tau can't stop a psychic power.
Some ones in particular.
One. Yeah.
Not like, Smite, but that's okay.
No, you can't stop Smite.
What it can do is take the solid image projection unit, which goes on an ethereal with a hover drone, and once per phase, when they are the target of a charge, you can move them 3 inches, up to 3 inches before the charge roll is made, because it turns out they weren't over there; they were back here the whole time.
Yep. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Then probably my other favorite one on this book is the Seismic Destabilizer.
Yes.
Which is a great one. This is kind of a siege weapon that they use. At the start of each shooting phase, you may either pick an enemy infantry unit, claiming the benefit of cover. It noticeably does not have to actually be in cover.
Yes, they just have to be claiming it.
Yeah, so that could mean a Tau unit that is not moved. From this right sept, a Tyranny unit that gets that, something within range, Nurgle units within range of a Gnarl Blight, mild,
Feculent, Gnarl, Feckle, Grimble, the Nurgle tree.
Yeah. Any of those things like that can be targeted business, or you can pick a building within 12 inches.
Yep.
Again, I was talking the other day about how fortifications on the rise.
Yeah.
So they are getting more important. So there are going to be more buildings out there. If you pick a building, suffers D3 mortal wounds.
Straight up, and you can do that once per shooting phase.
Yeah,
so that's great.
Every shooting phase. Now, if you pick an infantry unit, you roll a dice for each model in the unit, and then for each roll of a 6, that unit suffers a mortal wound.
That's also pretty great.
Which is pretty great. I think this is going to be great, especially like for against Nurgle armies. Sometimes they have pretty big units.
Yeah.
20, 30 plague bearers or poxwalkers.
Poxwalkers or
that
whatever.
That are somewhere in those trees. And you can kill a 6/5 or 6 another turn with this. That's pretty great. Great for taking out giant hordes that are trying to benefit from cover.
Absolutely.
And just getting a free chance of a bunch of mortal wounds.
There's also the Supernova launcher, which sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It is an upgrade for the air-bursting fragmentation projector. This is an 18-inch assault D6 weapon that is strength 6, AP -2, and that does 2 damage. So it gives you like a nice upgrade to that weapon. There might be better weapons you can take, but if you are going to take that one, that's a pretty sweet relic to go with.
It's a better version, and it still can target units that are not visible to the bear.
Yes, that is pretty good. Like being able to shoot out of line of sight is pretty great.
So then we have vector maneuvering thrusters. This is the Tau Sept special relic, and this is also another really great one. So you can only put it on a battle suit, but that battle suit may move immediately up to 6 inches after attacking the shooting phase.
Yeah, this is the old
vector thrusters, right?
Yeah, this is the old jump of Tau lore. So if you want to make your opponent like twitch just a little bit, remembering the battle days, that's the relic to take.
Which you can conversely, if you want to do some, you can kind of do some weird assault tricks with it.
Yeah.
Because you can match strike within 9 inches, shoot them, and then move 6 inches.
And then move 6, yeah.
And then you could charge.
You could.
So there's some weird tricks there.
There are. Now, you can't combo that with any of the good, like, close combat weapons.
But you could tie up an enemy unit or something.
You could, yeah.
Tau close combat tricks are a thing now.
I want them to be so much more than they are. There's also the thermoneutronic projector, which is an upgraded flamer. Basically, it's only for viewerless sept guys, but if they have a flamer, they can replace it with the thermoneutronic projector, which is a regular flamer, except it is strength 6, AP -1, and it does 2 damage. So it auto hits, but pretty much straight upgrade for a flamer if you're taking one.
Pretty great. Then for the you get the dynamic mirror field from Daleth Sept. I'm pretty sure that's just the field in Arlington, right? Like giant, big,
dynamic
mirror
stuff.
Yeah.
This one's pretty good.
Yeah. Your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls that target the bear.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's gonna be on a character, so. But it's not shooting only, so it does protect you in combat and can give you that little edge.
Absolutely.
Well, again, unfortunately, you can't combat with any of the really good close combat weapons, so you're not probably not going to be able to build that crazy Tau close combat guy you really always dreamed of.
One day, sadly.
One day.
Until then, though, there's also the Grav Inhibitor Field, which is the Sept special relic. Enemy units that charge that unit subtract 2 inches from their charge distance, so it's a little harder to charge. You can combo that with the Grav Inhibitor drones, which also do a similar thing, so it can be really tough for your one character, which doesn't have to be a Crisis suit, but it will be a character, for your important guy to get charged.
Yeah. Then for the Borkin Sept, you get the Plasma Accelerator Rifle. This is an upgrade to a plasma rifle, and it does replace one of those. It's going to be a 30-inch range, rapid fire 1, strength 7, -3 AP, and do 2 damage.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
And finally, there's the Fusion Blades, which is the Gundam weapon. You have to have 2 Fusion Blasters in order to do it, and you can swap them out for 2 Fusion Blasters still. They have not changed anything about that. But you also get a melee attack with them, which gives you the melee attack of a Fusion Blaster. So strength 8, AP -4, and D6 damage. You can only make 2 attacks with this weapon, though. So that's half of your attacks.
And sadly, you don't get to reroll. You don't get to pick 2 dice and drop the lowest for inflicting damage in melee. That's only in shooting. That's
only in shooting. And sadly, you can't combo that with like the Onager Gauntlet, so you have 2 attacks at strength 8, 1 at strength 10, and then you have the subtract 1 for hit roll. So if you cheat, you can make that crazy Tau close combat character that you wanted to.
He'd be so good.
He'd be so good.
But yeah, overall, I think this is one of the sections that's changed the most from the Index, in that it exists.
Now.
It's a big change.
There's some cool stuff to take. I think we'll probably more often than not, like 90% of the time, I think it's going to be the Pure Tide chip.
I think it's going to be the Pure Tide chip,
and then you might occasionally see like one of the other ones.
I think you'll see the Seismic Destabilizer fairly often. Because that can go on any Tau character again, and free wounds that aren't shooting based or anything. Just every now and then a free wound out there is going to be pretty tasty. But those are probably going to be the two biggest ones you see, and then probably after that the Vector Maneuver Thrusters if you're playing Tau.
And that is the second half of the Tau Codex. So I'm JR.
I'm Stable Abe.
We're both with Bolts. Thanks for watching.
Click to subscribe. Support us on Patreon. Check out more videos. And thanks for watching.